Welcome to TFI Global. The world is watching the Russia-Ukraine war closely, but behind the headlines, an even bigger game is unfolding. A three-dimensional chessboard of power, trade, and ego. At the center of this chessboard is India. Remember a few days ago, US President Donald Trump, trade advisor Peter Navarro said, Ukraine's road to peace runs through New Delhi and called Ukraine war as Modi's war. Yes, India, a country now emerging as the potential broker of peace between Russia and Ukraine. But here's the twist. Not everyone wants peace right now. So let's break it down. Recently, a German media house, Frankfurter Allgemeine Zeitung, reported that Prime Minister Modi did not respond to multiple calls from President Trump. At first glance, this may seem like a minor piece of diplomatic gossip, but ask yourself, why was European media so eager to publish it? This kind of story could have been leaked by Indian government sources to the Indian media, showcasing Modi's boldness. Instead, it came out through European outlets. That tells us something. Europe is playing its own game here. Because geopolitics today isn't black and white. It's not even two-dimensional. It's a 3D chessboard. And right now, the pieces are moving fast. Look at what has happened in just past few weeks and going to happen in the upcoming weeks. First, President Donald Trump has met with European leaders, Ukrainian officials, and even spoke to Putin in pursuit of a peace deal. Second, Modi will meet President Putin on the sidelines of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization summit in China. Third, Ukraine President Zelensky is planning a visit to India. And fourth, there's a talk of President Putin visiting India as well. If you connect the dots, a clear picture emerges. Trump wants the Ukraine war to end quickly, but Putin cannot simply present peace as a result of US pressure. He needs another name, a mediator acceptable to both sides. And that name could be Modi, presenting India. Now, two important questions arise. Question 1, who actually wants peace and who doesn't? Question 2, why is Trump pressuring India with tariffs? At the same time, he needs India's help. Let's tackle the first question. Trump wants this war to end. His motivations are largely economic. He has his eyes on the contracts worth nearly $16 trillion in Ukraine's rare earth minerals, plus the $1 trillion reconstruction opportunity once the war is over. He wants to secure these before his presidency ends. On top of that, ending the war would ease sanctions on Russia. That means more countries could trade with Moscow, opening the door for more Trump allies to benefit. Trump also sees potential for his World Liberty Fund crypto business, as trade could shift away from the US dollar towards local currencies and crypto. So for Trump, peace means money and legacy. But the European Union, they are not in a hurry. The EU has already invested more than $200 billion in Ukraine. $45 billion in official loans, $100 billion in economic packages and aid, and $55 billion in arms, ammunition, and training. For European powers, France, Germany, and the UK, this war is an economic lifeline. It keeps their industries running, creates contracts for their defense companies, and guarantees leverage over Ukraine's future. They see Ukraine as a long-term, high-return investment. If the war ends too soon under Trump's terms, it will be America, not Europe, reaping the biggest rewards. And let's not forget Zelensky. For him, war is survival. His elected term is over. His presidency survives only because of the war. So here's the blunt truth. Trump wants peace. The EU and Zelensky need war. To understand the present, we must go back. Since World War II, the US and the Europe have been the closest allies. NATO was born and the Western Europe thrived under American protection. But by the late 1990s, the US realized the real threat was no longer Russia, it was China. That's when Washington started looking at India, a democratic powerhouse, militarily strong and geographically positioned right next to China. In 2000, President Bill Clinton made a historic 5-day visit to India, marking the start of a new strategic era. Later came the Quad, India, Japan, Australia, and the US, a coalition aimed squarely at countering China. As India's importance grew, Europe's relevance to US strategy declined. That's why today, European powers feel increasingly sidelined. Now, let's turn to the second question. Why is Trump imposing a 50% tariff on Indian goods, even when he needs India for the Ukraine peace process? There are three reasons. Reason 1, Pakistan. Trump wants rare mineral extraction rights in Pakistan Khyber Pakhtunkhwa region. By squeezing India, he signals goodwill to Pakistan's military leadership under Asim Munir, who has recently started clearing local populations from mining zones. Reason 2, domestic politics. Trump promised the MAGA base massive wins, deals with Russia, better markets for American farmers, more jobs. So far, little has materialized. The tariff on India is a convenient distraction, a show of strength. Reason 3, de-dollarization. Ironically, by targeting India, Trump may accelerate the very thing he fears, the world moving away from the US dollar. India has one of the most advanced financial infrastructures outside the West. If India demonstrates how to conduct global trade using local currencies or crypto, others will follow. This could make crypto a central pillar of global commerce, something Trump's allies are preparing for. So, where does Europe fit in this puzzle? When European media pushed the story about Modi ignoring Trump's calls, it wasn't random. It was a calculated move to hurt Trump's ego because Trump's style of diplomacy is built on two things: ego and arm twisting. If India is seen as disrespecting him, it complicates communication at the crucial moment. That's exactly what Europe wants, to delay any peace deal that Trump could claim as his victory. The EU would rather stretch the war until it secures its own returns. So here's the summary. India is now at the center of the global chessboard. Trump needs India to broker peace in Ukraine. The EU wants to block or delay this peace to protect its own interests. Putin sees India as a neutral partner, a face-saving mediator. Zelensky's survival depends on prolonging the war. And in the middle of all of this, Trump's tariffs on India serve multiple purposes: distracting his domestic audience, signaling to Pakistan, and indirectly accelerating a shift away from the US dollar. Geopolitics today is not about good versus bad or East versus West. It is about layers of interests colliding: economic, security, ego, and survival. India, once considered a marginal player in global diplomacy, now finds itself at the very heart of this chessboard. If peace comes to Ukraine, don't be surprised if it carries the signature of New Delhi. But until then, every move, every tariff, every leak story, every handshake is just another piece being moved on the global chessboard. The game is far from over. Thank you for watching.